Welcome back to the channel, my fellow weather junkies. I'm your host, Greg Majeski, your personal weatherman, bringing you the weather without all that social media hype here on your Saturday, November 16th, 2024. Let's take a look at what we're tracking here for today as we're looking at a round of severe weather, especially across the areas of the south central portion of the United States. We'll talk about the specifics on that coming up in this edition. We're going to talk about the cold air. It's on the move, especially moving into the areas in the east. They're going to see a nice cool down coming. And then we're also going to talk about a Midwest winter storm. We're talking about Indiana, Ohio, that could see some snows a little bit later in this upcoming work week. Now, before we get going, first, I do want to thank the new subscribers to the channel. And if you haven't yet subscribed, what you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're alerted on future content. And as always, help me out with that YouTube algorithm, will you? Just give me a thumbs up, leave a comment down below. I truly do appreciate your support here on the channel. All right, let's go ahead and talk about our satellite imagery here. Very quiet up and down the eastern seaboard. We got a weak system here in the middle of the country. I see a few thunderstorms pop off there across portions of Wisconsin. Not severe, but we'll see some potential rains there. Got some snows here across areas of Montana here for this morning. And another storm system out here off the west coast here coming in across Washington State and Oregon. There's a bit of an upper level feature. Can't see it very well here on the satellite, but this is going to be kicking on out and it'll be setting off some thunderstorms here across portions of Texas as we go throughout the day on your Sunday. All right, let's go ahead and talk about our current watches and warnings. We got red flag warnings. That means dry conditions there into the northeast. We got some fog there across portions of Arkansas and Missouri. And we do have those winter storm warnings there in the pink and winter weather advisories across portions of Montana here for this morning and freezing warnings out here in portions of California as well. All right, let's look at our current surface map. Eastern third, all quiet. We got high pressure and control, not bad out here. Here's the snows across Montana, and the heavy precipitation arriving here on the west coast, coming into Seattle a little bit later today. And definitely chillier out here in the west, a lot of 20s out here, relatively mild here in the east, a lot of 40s. But let's talk about the snow up here in the areas of Montana. Pretty good bright banding on the radar. When I say bright banding, when you see yellows and oranges, and see how fuzzy it kind of looks? That's snow falling. Here's Highway 2, so from Wolf Point over to Glasgow, probably very picturesque out there this morning. The ground temperatures look okay and not too bad. They're sitting in the middle 30s or so, so I think the road conditions are all right, but probably a pretty good heavy snow out here across the northeastern portions of Montana here for this morning. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the latest from the Storms Prediction Center. We're going to be taking a look at activity over the next 3 days before we kind of break down that next storm system. So here's your day one outlook here. This was just updated here. Just maybe a nice rumble of thunder here across portions of Wisconsin and Iowa here for your Saturday with that storm system that's going to be moving up that way right now. But what we're waiting for is what's going to be kicking out of the southwest. That is our big player here as we look at your day two outlook. So let me pull up your day two here. Again, we're looking at storms developing throughout the day on Sunday. They're really kicking in Sunday night and going into Monday morning. And I'll show you the short-term model on that here in just a second. But let's go ahead and break down the categories on this. As you look at the tornado threat, relatively low, running about 2% there across central portions of Texas. Hail threat will also remain low, but the wind threat will stay relatively high, about 15%. That's exactly where, obviously, where that slight risk is sitting. So we're talking about winds greater than 55 to 60 miles per hour expected in that zone. So that's your day two outlook. As we go into day three, going in towards your Monday, we see this begins to push off toward the east with that storm system. Just a little pocket there of severe weather there, possibility there across portions of Oklahoma and into portions of Dallas. Looks like Dallas-Fort Worth there. And then you obviously got the bigger area there of the marginal severe weather there from the Gulf Coast states going all the way up into Missouri and into Kansas. So that'll be going into your Monday on the day three outlook there. All right, so let's talk about the tropics real quick. We do have that one tropical system. Sarah is still sitting there. It's been spinning its wheels out here for a couple days. It's nearly stationary. It's going to dissipate, folks. The moisture will get up into the Gulf of Mexico, might enhance some of the rain that may come in along the Gulf Coast, but otherwise, this thing's going to finally start to fizzle on out. It's showing every indication that it's doing that right now. As you look at the satellite imagery here, and I'll zoom in a little bit closer, you can kind of see not as many reds and yellows. We're not seeing a lot of thunderstorms out there as we have seen in the past. So definitely looking a little bit better out there. The center of circulation is sitting right there, just off the Honduras coast there, off of Belize. And it'll start moving again, especially as that next storm system kicks out going into tomorrow. And then that moisture will go up to the north. Now, so right now, there's nothing that shows this thing's going to re-intensify. There's nothing that's going to show it's going to become a storm again. It holds in the tropical storm zone area there. And even then, I really think it's going to dissipate as it moves up into the Gulf of Mexico. The moisture is going to move this way, so it could enhance some of the rains here across portions of the Florida Gulf Coast, getting over to North Florida as we go into this new work week, especially going in toward Wednesday and Thursday as that next big storm system begins to push off toward the east. So with that said, let's go ahead and talk about the short-term forecast. We're looking at the high-resolution model data here kind of over the next 42 hours or so, all right? So what we're going to do here is let's go ahead and take this thing forward here as we go forward here. As we see the rains and there, snows there, obviously across portions of Montana. So we're going to watch this energy start to kick out here, and then we got more energy coming out here on the west coast. So let's go ahead and take this throughout the day on your Saturday. So that timestamp there, you'll notice you've seen the rains there for your Saturday afternoon across portions of North Dakota. You see the rains increasing here as we head toward the evening hours here across the areas of the Northwest, looking very wet and damp there across Washington State and Oregon on your Saturday, but most of the country fairly quiet. Now, as we go into the overnight hours here, boom, as we get late, you notice we get a few thunderstorms there showing there across portions of Wisconsin. That's where it was lighting up there on your day one outlook. That kind of really goes into early Sunday morning there across there. And then we're watching this energy back out here that'll be kicking out. And then, of course, we got the storm system out here on the northwest. But watch what happens, especially down there toward Texas, as we go in throughout the day on your Sunday. Boy, it really starts firing up some storms as that low pressure system starts to kick on out here. We've seen the storms start to kick off across portions of Texas as we go throughout the day on your Sunday. And it's really going to get really going as we go into Sunday night. So watch this thing gets cranking. Boy, we start getting a pretty good squall line there developing as we head toward midnight, and that pushes off toward the east. So we got a very impressive squall line here across Texas as the upper level low here back across New Mexico kicks on out, and that's what's going to be setting up the severe weather there. Obviously, we're looking at rains and intermountain snows across the areas of Idaho and Oregon and into California as that next system begins to push off toward the east. So let's look at the jet stream for this new work week coming up, all right? So this is the European model here. We're looking at about the 300 millibar level here as this thing dips on out. This is the storm system here. Boom. This is the area that's going to be that little kink in the jet stream here. That's what's setting off that severe weather going on to Monday and Tuesday. So let's go ahead and track this jet stream as this begins to shift off toward the east. We're going to see this kind of move on off and really set up this big storm system here. This is the low that may bring the snows into areas of Indiana and into Ohio, as it's going to be kind of pinched off, a cold upper level low here that's going to move on through as we go in throughout the day on Thursday. So Thursday's my target day there for snows across Indiana, Ohio. You know, Ohio was in a bit of a snow shadow last year. If this thing does something weird, it could dump more snow in this one event than some places saw all of last year. We'll see. We still got a few days to kind of track this, but you notice we get a little bit of ridging out here on the west coast here a little bit. So it'll modify with the air there, but definitely seeing much colder temperatures here across the eastern third of the United States. Not overly cold. We're not talking Arctic cold, but seasonably chilly, to say the least, for those areas. And then this pulls on off. Gets a little more zonal flow as we head into the following weekend, going into the 23rd and 24th. And then we'll see the next big trough digging here across the eastern portion of the United States with another cold front going into Thanksgiving week. And it looks like we got a very active subtropical jet kind of phasing in with a little bit of the main westerly there as that goes in toward Thanksgiving Day. It looks like a frontal system may be cutting across the southeast on Thanksgiving Day, or the eastern portion of the country on Thanksgiving Day. So Thanksgiving may be briefly milder across the southeast until this next cold front pushes on through, going into Black Friday and going into that following weekend there. So again, I don't normally go out behind 240 hours on this, but because we got Thanksgiving, I'm going to go ahead and continue to monitor how the forecast is progressing for Thanksgiving. So let's go ahead and talk about the precipitation again here, as we've already talked about the short term here. Let's go ahead and bring this forward here. End of the European showing again. We got some going into Monday. You got this nice little low pressure system there with some storms here down across Texas and portion of Oklahoma here. Obviously, you got some rain out here on the west coast. Not too bad up and down the eastern seaboard here on your Monday for the 18th. Now, as we go forward on this will spread up toward the high plains, and you see the rains there spreading across the southeast. Some of that moisture from Sarah may tag team where the areas there along the Gulf Coast. So this is some of that moisture enhancement down here, potentially from Sarah down there showing up on the European model here. And as this goes forward in time, here comes that upper level low here. Boom. It really kind of sets up across Indiana and into Ohio. So looking at throughout the day on Thursday, this will be my target zone to see whether we get some significant snows right now. It doesn't look all that bad right now, but one thing about these upper level lows, they could sometimes be underrepresented when it comes to snow totals. So that's why I'm going to watch this one closely as we go later into the week. This is going into the 21st. All right, so as we go ahead and go forward, this will start to move into the northeast going into your Friday. Notice we got another storm system out here on the west coast coming on in. Not bad for a big chunk of the south central portion of the United States as we head into your Friday there. So let me go ahead and clear this out, and then let's continue to track this forward here as it's looking pretty quiet there going into the following weekend once again, except for the west coast, which is dealing with some rains out there. Then we're going into Thanksgiving week. So we're looking at how the travel is going to evolve that week. Obviously, Thanksgiving week is a very busy travel week. So this will kind of just give us an idea of what things are looking right now. So right now going in toward Wednesday, which is the busiest travel day of the week, you've seen some rains here across areas of the Midwest back to the south central United States. We got some cold air coming in down here. West Coast doesn't look bad. East Coast doesn't look bad. So the only hub that I see that may have some problems, you got Chicago's not looking bad, Atlanta's not looking bad. So we're just kind of watching those travel hubs there throughout the day on your Wednesday for any potential travel delays. And then that cold front moves off toward the east again. Like I said, it looks like the southeast will be relatively mild there on Thanksgiving Day, at least according to this latest model run here. And then this kind of moves on off toward the east. So right now, traveling on Wednesday does not look that bad the day before Thanksgiving. And yours truly will continue to monitor this very closely as we get closer to it, because the model's going to change. You know, that may be on 7 days, it's going to change, but we're just kind of looking at trends. Looking at your precipitation totals here, again, we're going to be watching the west coast, which is going to get pounded, and then we got some pretty good rains here, obviously, with that system kicking out here across the south central portion of the United States. The west coast totals are going to be through the roof here over the next 10 days, especially as we go through time. And then this will push off toward the east, and then we'll get a little bit of tropical enhancement with the rains here across the Florida Panhandle. Southern Alabama, South Georgia, needed rains there, especially with the drought conditions that have been inundating that area. And then we'll go ahead and take this all the way out to its run here out to the next 5 days here, showing you some very heavy rains on the west coast and some decent rains across the southeast. And then we'll see if any of this really materializes as a pretty good snows here across Indiana and Ohio. Again, upper level features. I'm telling you, I've seen it. They will sometimes surprise you. So let's look at the snow totals. Obviously, the Intermountain region will continue with their snow totals as well here on the short term here. There's our snow there across portions of Indiana and Ohio there as we go in through this upcoming week. And then we'll take this all the way on out here, going out for the full run here at the 360. So you see, we're going to be definitely piling on the snows out here in the west, that's for sure. But this little snow event here, this is what we're going to watch here as we go into this upcoming week, going in toward Thursday on the 24th. Let's go in a little bit closer here. Let's go into the Midwest. Let's go into here the eastern portion of the United States here. So yeah, so we're looking at roughly about 8 inches. Got a little pocket there of 7-8 inches of snow. Again, I think it could potentially be higher than that. We're looking at higher snows here across the Appalachians, but again, I think this is going to change a little bit as we get closer to it. So just stay tuned here, and I'll keep you updated on how that system evolves as we go into this upcoming work week. All right, let's talk about the temperature anomalies. For the most part, we're still continuing that pattern as we've seen here for a while. This is your a departure from normal. You've seen the reds, and obviously you're talking about temperatures that are running above average here across the middle of the country. You see the blues and the greens. That is where it's been running below average. Most of the fall has been like that for the west for the most part here. And as we go in toward your Monday and Tuesday, you're going to see that start to cool. You see the warm up here out ahead of that cold front. You see in the above normal temperatures here. Obviously, we're looking at below normal out here in the west, but we're going to finally get some of this cool air to move in here across the southeast as we go in toward the 21st. So as we go forward in time here, we start chipping that away. Here comes that cool air coming into the southeast. Still relatively above average cooler, but still relatively above average here for the northeast, as well as up here in the north central portion of the United States. But at least the temperatures will back off a little bit here as we go toward Thursday. And then as we look ahead, going into Thanksgiving week, again, that's very important for a lot of folks. You see most of the east, once again, looking above average going into that travel week, going into Tuesday the 26th and going into Wednesday the 27th, although you clearly see a frontal system right through here. Below normal temperatures out of the west. That's it. We're back to that pattern once again, although we're going to get a brief cool down in the east. It's not going to last very long, unfortunately. And then we'll see another system begin to cool things down going into Black Friday and into that following weekend. So Most of the country, really, although there's some red pockets here, looks either you average this out, looks like it's running, pretty close to average of what you would expect for this time of year. So seeing those changes taking place, let's go ahead and talk about what the Climate Center is looking at here as we look at the 6 to 10 day outlook. Obviously, with that cool pool coming into the southeast, the 21st to the 25th, we're going to see below normal temperatures here. Above normal out in the west is something we've not seen a lot of this fall, and in the pocket there above normal there across the northeast. Going into the 23rd to the 29th, this is below normal here right now, but I think this might change a little bit, judged based off the fact that it looks like we're going to get a brief warm-up out ahead of that next system coming in on Thanksgiving Day. Milder out here in the west and milder across the Great Lakes and across the northeast. Precipitation-wise, big-time drier conditions here once we get by this next storm system coming in here in the next few days. Beyond that, we start to dry out a little bit. More active out here on the west coast, a little bit rainier there in the northeast. And then as we go through the 23rd to the 29th, as we get ready to wrap up the month of November, pretty much drier for the eastern third of the United States and the south central, but staying active out here in the west with above normal precipitation for California, heading back up into the high plains as we getting close to the 29th, almost done with the month of November. Kind of hard to believe we got that. And we've already made it through this month almost already, but we're getting closer. And my main purpose here for this upcoming week, obviously going to watch the severe weather. That's going to be developing Sunday night and going into Monday there into Texas. I'm going to watch that cold air on the move and that upper level low. See if we get kind of an unexpected surprise snows, maybe heavier snows across Indiana or Ohio. This definitely could cause some travel headaches for that area, but the temperatures will be sitting mostly in the low to mid 30s, so I think the ground temperatures will be all right, but could be a pretty decent wet snow with that event. And then obviously we'll see how the forecast evolves as we get toward Thanksgiving. It's going to change. Anything beyond 7 to 10 days, you're going to see changes. So we're just looking at trends to see how the jet stream, the overall global pattern is shaping up as we head toward the end of the month. And yours truly is going to stay on top of this, and you can always check back in here with my weather dailies. I try to do them Monday through Saturday on a regular basis. So if you'd like to make this part of your YouTube feed, please just hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so you're alerted on future content. And as always, if you got something you like to see, go ahead and make a comment down below, or obviously give me a thumbs up. I do appreciate your support here on the channel. All right, that's your Saturday update for now. You guys take it easy, be good, stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.